Aloha. We will begin our service with the ringing of the temple bell. At this time, please silence your phones and listen quietly as the sounding of the concho is an invitation to settle our hearts and minds as we prepare to receive the Dharma. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for attending today's Dharma service. I am Mimi and I will serve as your MC. Minister's Assistant Linda Nagai will officiate today's service. Reverend Blaine is in Honolulu conducting the Minister's Lay Assistant Retreat following by wearing his other hat as the Director of Buddhist Study Center. Assisting the temple with technical support is the Zoom crew of Joey Guzman, Alan Matsumoto, and Stephen Kaneko. Corinne Chong is our organist, and Betty Takioka will lead our singing. Please rise and let us start the service with the Vandana and Tisarana. Please chant in both English and in Pali and English parts together with Linda.
Bhagavato namandabs, 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 namandabs.
Please remain standing. Linda will now share an aspiration.
In the warmth of Amida's boundless compassion, may our hearts be open like gentle hands, ready to welcome all who come our way. In a world that can feel cold or uncertain, may we find comfort in Amida's embrace, a refuge that holds each of us just as we are. May this time together in the Dharma awaken within us gratitude, kindness, and understanding, so that we may share that same warmth with others. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabs. Namandabs. Namandabs.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving to the back. Let us now observe a moment of silent meditation.
Namandavs, 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 namandavs.
Linda will now lead us in chanting the sutra Jusuge. Words can be found on page 55 in the red Jodo Shinshu service book and on the screen. Again, page 55 in the red service book.
Jusege, the verses reaffirming the vows. The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to the supreme enlightenment. The Jusege, or verses reaffirming the vows, is a poetic summary of the basic intention of the 48 vows made by Amida Buddha to attain supreme enlightenment, to save all who are suffering, and to declare universal salvation through the name Namo Amida Butsu. We chant the words of the Buddha from the larger Pure Land Sutra as a reminder of these great vows made to awaken all beings. The verses reaffirming the vows, Ju Se Ge. Kagon cho segan hishimu jodo shigan fumanzok se fujo shogak gao muryoko fui dai se shu fu sai sho bingu se fujo shogak ga shi jo bundo myo sho cho jippo gu kyo mi mo shomon se fujo shogak ryokujin shonen joe shubongyo shigumu jodo isho tennishi jindiki endaiko fusho musaido shoujo sankumyo kosai shuyakunan kai chi egen meshi konmo an heisoku sho akudo tsudan zen chumon kosojo manzok iyoro jippo nichigan shujoki tenko on fugen ishu kai hozo koseku doku ho jodai shuju seppo shishiku kuyo isai bus gusoku shutoku hon ganne shinjo man tokui sangai yo nyobun mugechi tsudan mi fusho gangaku erik toshi sai shoson shigan yakoka dai se o kando kuku shoten nin touchin Namandabs, 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 namandabs.
Please rise for the Gatha, Living Gratefully. Words can be found on page 132 in the Purple Gatha book and on the screen. Again, page 132 in the Purple Gatha book.
Let's all live in harmony, trying to live as one. All of us together, always, living life with Buddha's love. Hand in hand we move along. Let's all live in peace. Strive to be the best we can, living gratefully. Louder. Kindness to every living thing, showing our gratitude, loving all our friends and family, showing thanks for all they do. Hand in hand we move along. Let's all live in peace. Strive to be the best we can, living gratefully.
You may be seated. Today's Dharma message will be shared by Linda.
Good morning. Let's put our hands together in Gassho as I read a passage from the Jodo Wasan. Seeing the sentient beings of the Nimbutsu throughout the world, countless as particles in the 10 quarters, the Buddha grasps and never abandons them, and therefore is named Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandas. 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 Good morning again. It was funny because what I'm going to talk about today, this song, Living Gratefully, kind of just fits right into it. So if you remember the words, think about it as I deliver this, talk to you today. You know, as Shinran reminds us, Amida's compassion embraces all beings without exception. With that same warmth and inclusiveness in mind, today I'd like to share a story called The Mitten. And this is a story about a mitten that has room for everyone. Let's reflect this together through this simple, this is a book. I think it was Emmy that says she likes children's books. I love children's books too. And this is a it's simple, all pictures. That's why I like it, not too many words. But it tells you a story. Once upon a time, there was a little boy. A little boy asked his grandmother if she could knit a pair of white mittens for him. His grandmother hesitated. If I make them white, she said, you might lose them, one of them in the snow. But the boy begged and begged, and finally, with love, she knitted him a pair of white, soft, woolen mittens. She told him that when he got home, she would check that he was safe and sound, and that he still had the 2 mittens. However, as his grandmother feared, one snowy day while playing outside, the boy dropped a mitten, and he didn't notice it. It lay there, bright and white against the snow. And before long, a little mole came along and burrowed itself inside the mitten. It was warm, cozy, and just the right size. A few minutes later, along came a rabbit and wiggled in. At first, the mole didn't think there was enough room for the two of them, but he made space and he welcomed the rabbit. Then came the hedgehog with his prickly quills. Now, what do you think the animals said? Now, this prickly hedgehogs. You can't come in. You're different. You're going to poke us. You got prickly squills. No, they just made room for him. The mitten stretched, big enough for the hedgehog and his prickly quills. Then came an owl and a badger and a fox. The animals grumbled a little, thinking there was no more room in this little mitten, but they still let each one of them in. Each time, the mitten stretched wider and wider, never turning anyone away. Finally, a big bear came, and he saw this big, plump mitten. Not wanting to be left out, he began to nose his way in. The animals were all tightly squeezed, but still, they made room for the bear. So can we, like these little animals, make room in our little mitten, in our little lives, expanding with kindness and space for others? Kind of think about that. Let's think about who needs that little warmth, the little bit of kindness, friendship from us this week. So again, the mitten stretched one last time. It stretched and it stretched until it could fit everyone. Was there a time when someone made room for you? How did they make you feel? I know the bear felt good because he was big and they made room for him. Do you think we can do that for others? Inside the mitten, it was nice and warm and cozy. All the animals, big, small, furred, prickly, feathered, shy and brave, huddled all together, safe in the mitten's warmth. It was their kindness and their acceptance that made it possible for everyone to share the space. Then along comes a tiny mouse, wiggled in at last. It was so small that it did find space right on the top of the bear's nose. But when its whiskers tickled the bear's nose, the bear gave a big sneeze. He went, achoo, and out flew all the animals. And the mitten soared high up in the sky and landed far away. But just then, the boy came walking by, and the mitten fell right in front of him. He looked down and found his mitten. Not torn, not ruined, but still strong, thanks to his grandmother's fine knitting. It was like the mitten had found him. You remember, he couldn't go home without it, right? Grandma's looking for this. That mitten is like Amida's heart, accepting everyone. So if the mitten stands for Amida's compassion, accepting everyone without exception, what does that mean for how we treat others? Can we welcome people who are different from us? Do we welcome people who are different from us? Amida's great compassionate vow promises to welcome all beings, not just the good, not just the wise or the calm ones, but everyone. Amida does not say, you're too small, you made too many mistakes, you don't belong. Instead, Amida says, come as you are already embraced. The animals never said, you can't come in. The mitten simply stretched to make room. That's Amida's heart, wide, warm, and open to all. So if we look around, and when you go home today, in your home, in your community, think about it when you get home. Can you see Amida's compassion in your home, in your community? It could be very subtle. In our world today, sometimes people are left out because they're different, because of how they look, what they believe in, who they are. But Amida's wisdom shows us that all beings are precious and no one is left outside the circle of compassion. When we practice that too, by opening our hearts like the mitten, when we include others, when we listen, when we show kindness, we help create a warmer world. A temple is like the mitten, a place where everyone belongs. Maybe someone new joins our Sangha or activity. Maybe someone feels shy or different or left out. We can say, come sit right here. There's always room for you. There's room for you here. That's how Amida's vow works in our daily life. And then how can we say thank you for this great compassion? We say it by saying Namo Amida Butsu. When we say Namo Amida Butsu, we're really saying, thank you, Amida, for including me. Thank you for loving me just as I am. Thank you for showing me how to open my hearts to others. The mitten stretched to hold every animal, and Amida's compassion stretches far beyond what we can imagine. At the end of the story, the boy found his mitten again. It had been filled with life, warmth, and yet it remained strong, just like the heart that learns to embrace others. When we open our heart to others, when we practice gratitude and inclusivity, our hearts might get stretched a bit, but like the mitten, it becomes stronger, warmer, and filled with compassion. So in closing, I would like to leave you with this. Let's go, when we go out today, to remember Amida's compassion is like the mitten, wide, warm, and open to all. Let's think about how we can stretch our hearts to include others with gratitude and kindness. Like the mitten, let's make room in our hearts for everyone and be thankful for Amida's compassion which embraces all beings. So let us put our hands together in Gassho and recite the Buddha's name. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabs. Namandabs. Nam.
Thank you for your message, Linda. Wayne Fukunaga will lead us in unison reading of our pledge. Words can be found on the laminated handouts and on the screen. Please recite the words out loud together with him.
I'll pledge. Reaching out to others, I will share a smile and gentle words, just like the Buddha, who always calls out with aloha, breaking away from my greed, anger, ignorance. I will try to live in peace and harmony, just like the Buddha, who shares tranquility and kindness with all. Moving forward from our centeredness, I will share a life of joy sorrow with others, just like the Buddha, whose caring heart always embraces us. Realizing that I live because of others, I will strive to live life to the fullest with an attitude, gratitude, just like the Buddha, who promises to embrace us all. Namo Buddhas, Namo Buddhas.
We will now have the offertory presentation. Mahalo for your generosity, which helps us sustain the temple. Please rise as we will conclude this service with singing of the Gatha Nembutsu.
Namandabs, 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 namandabs.
You may be seated. This concludes today's service. Here are some announcements. Upcoming schedule of services. Next Sunday, November 2nd, Cub Scouts Pac 12 will sponsor the annual Veterans Appreciation Service at 10 a.m. Speaker will be Lieutenant Colonel Tim Alvarado, commander of Pohakuloa Training Area. Regular Dharma family service will be held on Sunday, November 9th at 10 a.m. Reverend Blaine will share the Dharma message. Sunday, November 16th, we will observe the annual Itikayo Sangha Memorial Service at 10 a.m. Guest speaker will be Reverend Toyokazu Hagio, retired Hongonji Kyodan minister. Heads up, please save the date on Sunday, November 23rd for our annual temple cleanup, starting at 8 a.m. Please help to keep our temple a beautiful and welcoming place for everyone. The more help we have, the faster the job will get done, so your kukua is very much appreciated. Attached to Reverend Blaine's weekly email is a flyer for free family caregiver breakfast to be held on November 7th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Royal Koina Resort. This event is sponsored by Hawaii Community Caregiver Network. The topic will be, what do we do with mom and dad? Registration is required, so if you are interested, please follow the instructions on the flyer. Any other announcements, Linda or anyone? Those of you on Zoom may leave at any time. Those of you in person will have refreshments served in the conference room. Betty brought refreshments. Mahalo to anyone else who brought goodies to share. Please stay safe and get the new updated COVID and flu shots if you can. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you at future services.